To go further in depth, we are joined by David Curry, president of Open Doors USA, an organization that issues an annual list of dangerous and difficult nations in which to practice Christianity. Moments ago, they just released their 2015 watch list. David, we are so appreciative of your time here this morning on America's Forum.
Well, thank you, JD, for having me on. I appreciate it.
David, first of all, tell us about the criteria you use to rate these nations.
Well, we're ranking persecution on a number of factors. There's governmental issues in many countries like North Korea. And then you have societal issues, religious conflict. We have family conflicts in some countries where religions and ideologies force families to attack or encourage families to attack people who convert to Christianity. There are about 4 or 5 factors that we consider, including violence, in how we rank these countries.
And of course, we are looking, for lack of a better term, David, we're looking at traditional nation states, but ISIS proclaims the rise of a new Islamic caliphate, and that organization has been almost morbidly public in its persecution of Christians. So is ISIS in a new category all its own?
Well, you see the ISIS, the Islamic State conflict represented in the high ranking of Iraq and Syria, number 3 and number 4 on the World Watch list this year. And you're right, it cuts across some borders there, and they're trying to set up their own nation, their own caliphate. But you know what's interesting, JD, is that this Islamic extremism represents 40 of the top 50 countries on the list. So it's not just the Islamic State, it's Boko Haram, it's all of these kinds of like agencies who have an ideology that they share in common, which makes the spread of Christianity, anybody reading a Bible, totally a very, very dangerous and difficult proposition.
Would you go so far as to say that this radical Islamic persecution is monolithic in nature, regardless of the different groups? You mentioned Boko Haram in Africa and, of course, ISIS in the Middle East.
I don't think monolithic is the right term, but I do think they're learning from each other. They're connected. Certainly there are some funding sources that are the same. I think we all can understand that. But I think what you see right now in Nigeria, which is number 10 on the World Watch list, Boko Haram is learning from what is happening with the Islamic State. And while they have been sort of scattershot, very dangerous, very brutal, more Christians died last year in Nigeria than some other countries on the list.
David, in the minute that remains in this segment, we note that North Korea topped your list for the past 12 years in a row. Why is that?
Because North Korea is, and it's as brutal, it's at the top for a reason. It's as brutal towards Christians as Iraq and Syria and the Islamic State. You have total governmental control. You have 50 to 70,000 Christians in labor camps, not for any uncivil behavior as we would know it, but for reading a Bible, praying, converting to Christianity. There's a paranoia in that government that requires every citizen to worship the leader and for total obedience.
When we come back, we are going to go through the list, those nations where Christianity is outlawed, where the persecution remains rife. David Curry stays with us. You do too as we continue on this edition of America's Forum.